Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Murnion, and I'm the Executive Director of the Mint Film Festival. Thank you for joining us with this moment with filmmakers during our virtual event this year. We'd like to thank our presenting sponsor, Tito's Handmade Vodka, and our major sponsor, Kibler and Kirch. Today, we are joined with the team behind this amazing, colorful short film, How Is This the World? And I'd like to introduce Sadie Rogers, the director, first. Sadie, well, actually, let's go around and just have everyone introduce themselves and your respective roles.
Sure. I'm Sadie Rogers, writer-director. That's me.
Sadie also acts in the movie. If you just watched it, you saw her. I'm Grace. I produce the movie.
Who's next? Troy.
I'm Kate. I'm the costume designer.
I'm Troy, post-production supervisor.
Hey, I'm Bryant, and I played Raj in the movie.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and for giving us a few minutes of your time. So Sadie, how did this story come to be?
This was kind of a side project. I was thinking a lot about the concept of existence in virtual reality, and I was chatting Grace up about it back when she was working on this movie, Princess Sid. I was like, I want to write this short film that's like sort of a loose study on if somebody exists in virtual reality, do they exist in real life kind of thing. And then it sort of went from that to being more about addiction. And then it went from that to being more like about teenage addiction and loss of safety and loss of safe spaces. And then it turned out to be this like kind of beautiful egg that it is, that's like an amalgamation. I can't say that word. Don't cut that out, edit that out. Of all those things. So that's it.
Were you also the writer on the film?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, my follow-up question was just, when did you know that the script was ready to shoot?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. When did I know that the script was ready to shoot? I don't remember that moment. I think I just kind of handed it to Grace and was like, let's make this thing. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. I got some feedback, but I don't remember.
I feel like I'll just jump in and say I remember because you came to me with it in like December, and then over the next 6 months we did whatever levels of like pre-prod and getting locations and whatnot, and all edits were pretty much had to do with like the efficiency of what on set was going to be like, and then the locations. So really, I think story-wise, we went with what we had right off the bat, and then adjusted it based on location. So it was very free-moving.
Yeah,
but I think always ready to go, I guess.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Was it challenging to direct? Well, let me back up. What was the process like, knowing that you had to rely on some visual effects to to capture some of the color and some of the activity and some of the parts of the film? What was it like directing the live portion, knowing that effects were filling in these gaps for you?
It was actually a huge learning curve for me, and I'm really, really glad I did it, because that was probably the biggest challenge. We had an effects guy that was supposed to be on site with us, and he was going to kind of like, be there to help us like plan out what we need to shoot, and we lost him at the last minute. So we didn't have him. So me and the cinematographer would kind of like try to get with Grace, who was ADing and producing, would kind of try to hope that we were getting the right stuff. But all of that was, there were a lot of hitches because of that, because we didn't have that person. But then that's kind of why when Troy stepped in later in the process and kind of like took making it all work, he was actually our third person to step in and work on it. So he was kind of the miracle worker on that end of things. But I've said this to a couple of people, I wouldn't have it any other way, because you like, I learned so much from all the things that kind of didn't go quite right with this, that we had to like troubleshoot. And from the last week of scrambling and working with Troy before the festivals and stuff, or before the premiere. So yeah, it was kind of, I felt like I was a little blind about that, but I also, I think that, to be really honest with you, there was a little voice in the back of my head that was like, even if we don't get the magical fairy dust in the woods, even if we don't get the like bubbles or whatever in the ballroom, we still have these beautiful shots that have been created by Kate and Amanda with the costumes and the set that it could have still been virtual. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was already so beautiful. And Eon has he's just really good at catching things. So it was kind of, there was a little bit of me, it's like, we can make this work. We can make this work even if we can't do all that stuff,
So Troy, were you on set at all for the filming of it?
No, I came in much later in the process, and I guess, it was like, because they'd done some set up the special effects on set, and then the editor had worked on some of the VFX framework and put in some of the elements. So when I worked with Sadie, it was really, we're adding in little moments, and it was like really cool getting into Sadie's mind, like in terms of, because like for Sadie, the VFX were really, she wanted to integrate it into the scene and like into the emotions of the character. Like, it was like the notes, Sadie's notes are very specific, like this bubble should fall over the face when this happens. So really working the like texture of the VFX into the emotional beats of the film, which was a really fun process.
Troy, what was an unexpected challenge that you came across in that process?
I guess one of the things we were like, Sadie said we were working on it to the last minute, and like that forest scene was definitely one of the bigger challenges, because that was, I guess, one of the scenes probably also they had to plan the most in terms of visualizing the VFX during shooting. And
one near the beginning?
Near the beginning, when she kind of disappears and they hug in the forest. So a lot of that, so a lot of that was just like taking different shots they'd made in different layers and kind of layering it and kind of getting it to get the disappearance to look believable. And then we were kind of able to go into more of the details. But that was definitely something that was being worked on to the last minute.
So Hunter, you were in that forest scene. What was that like, filming that moment, knowing that there's a special effect happening in your arms?
Yeah, that definitely threw me for a curve. I think the note was, okay, now she's going to be phasing in and out of your body, so just act that. No, you just had to really take that and go. Everybody was. Have you
had a lot of experience with people phasing in and out of your body?
Not enough, I gotta say. The prep for that, I just had no way to prepare for that.
What was your preparation process like, knowing that there were these visual effects that were going to play a part in that, and how did you prepare for this role?
Well, I was lucky enough to be in the universe pretty early and get a sense of the universe early. There was the Indiegogo, which actually how I got attached to the film. Sadie, she found out about me through a recommendation, and then I just got a loose version of the script for an entirely different character. I was in a theatrical production at the time, and I remember I biked up to Sadie's apartment. There was like a small film crew in there. I kind of had an idea that this was a futuristic kind of, oh God, what's that? Like Ready Player One-esque, fully immersive.
Sure.
Yeah, so I did that and then got cast, and I guess my preparation was watching a ton of Black Mirror and teen rom-coms.
Did you say that?
There was no com.
Did you say The Mirror? The film The Mirror?
Oh, Black Mirror.
Oh, Black Mirror. Okay, that makes more sense. Like, I didn't see the Tarkovsky reference in this film, but Black Mirror makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Well, if there's one thing that stood out to me, I mean, there's a lot of amazing things that stood out to me, but the colorful costumes and sets were just outstanding. One of the most colorful films we probably have in the festival. And Kate, you were in charge of costume design and making that happen. What was that like with these types of characters?
Well, I think it was totally thrilling to be involved in something that was this this cyberpunk genre, but in a way that is contemporary and futuristic in the way where we acknowledge the sort of inevitable dystopia that we're existing in right now. So, you know, thinking about a lot of what cyberpunk, a lot of what that fashion is like is so bright, and so much of that culture existed and was formulated in nightclubs. So thinking about things that are so vibrant, that really draw someone's eye in a nightclub environment, but also like if we think about a lot of the cybergoth fashion existing in the early 90s in London, I mean that, you know, like the big hair that's vibrantly colored and all of that stuff, it's definitely creating a look that seems like it isn't meant for this world and could only exist digitally. So I think we were trying to figure out what that would look like for Raj and Zoe, and how that fashion would influence what they would look like in this simulation. So I think for Raj, having that sort of camo jacket feels like that's sort of an earthly material that's grounded in the real world, but those vibrant colors are, you know, like the bright splotches of red and white and the high contrast pattern kind of sets it in this video game digital mode, and feels like something that Raj would have chosen to be his avatar, you know. And I think, Hunter, I feel like maybe in your fitting we talked a little bit about like Tony Hawk Pro Skater and like picking your little video game outfit and figuring out what that would look like. And you know, collaborating with all of the cast was just so incredible. Hunter has a really incredible personal style, if nobody knows. So that was exciting too.
Was there a particular style or type of costume that you were wanting to bring to the film, but it just didn't work out for whatever reason?
That's a great question, and I'm glad that you answered that, because I think that in like every aspect of filmmaking, there's always something that ends up on the cutting room floor that you never get to talk about. I think thankfully everything that we worked on really was featured. Well, Sadie, what?
Remember the Chainmail Cape?
Oh.
I had the Chainmail Cape on, and we were like, it's too much. And like,
for your singing part?
Great.
Yeah,
where
it
you're
was
singing.
so cool. It's like this.
Oh my gosh! Wait, you're so right.
Yeah, rebirth garment. Like this. This amazing artist, Sky, made it, right? Sky made it, right?
Sky runs Rebirth Garments, which is an incredible small fashion company here in Chicago.
So the Chainmail Cape did not make it.
I think that outfit was wild enough.
Yeah.
Wow,
there was a
Sadie,
lot going on.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think, my memory of that scene is so that stretchy, metallic, sort of spandex chainmail thing that we ended up with is, I think we made a good choice, but I think you're just going to have to write another movie.
Yeah. I think I can definitely fit that chainmail cape into my next project. Let's not even worry about it.
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see that movie. please send it our way. Grace, I have a question for you. So I'm familiar with a few of your films now, and in your perspective, what makes a film great?
What makes a film great? So I think there's so many. A film is not just like, a short film is not just 12 minutes of content, and a feature film is not just 93 minutes of content or whatever. To me, it is everything that goes into making that. And that means starting from like the very origins to the amount of energy and positivity and mindfulness that goes into prepping it, and all of the effort that goes into finishing it, and every single individual person that's involved. And I think there is a very weird, like, this sounds like a very hippie answer, but I feel like it's actually practical, and I feel like producers know what I'm talking about. It's like when all of that stuff comes together in a mindful, intentional way, that makes the film very, very confident. It makes the tone clear and confident. It makes the emotions palpable and also confident, aware of what they are. And that is what really strikes an audience, I think. So it's like the question of what is a successful film, and it's like your film could be making like millions of dollars. It could be making any money at all, but maybe not be successful in the way of accomplishing what you set out to do. So I think in the whole grand life cycle of like arts, in one piece being put together, I think there's just there's kind of this unspoken confidence that I think you find in certain projects that really came together with awareness and care. And that, I think, is what makes a project great. And I hope that wasn't meandering or too idealistic a response to that question.
Never. No, that's great. Did you, Sadie or Grace, did you accomplish what you were wanting to accomplish with this film?
Can I answer that? Yeah. So, to be totally straight, it's like our festival run was not as huge as we thought it would be. Huge. Like everyone's anticipating like a huge festival run, or like, some kind of like, bigger press and whatever. I think this project, for whatever reason, wasn't what a handful of festivals were looking for, which is totally okay by me. But at the same time, I was always telling Sadie, I was like, it reads like kind of like a graphic novel. Like it plays like a graphic novel. It has the texture of the world. Like, it makes you ask questions that you wouldn't have been thinking about before. It's relevant to what we're living now, and also probably going to be relevant to what we're living in 5 and 10 years. So I've never not felt accomplished with this project. I think it's like tonally and in story, I think it totally hits the mark. And I think it plays in a really unique way. And so at face value, we're like, okay, a lot of the opportunities we maybe anticipated didn't work out, but at the same time, I think it's a successful project, and I think it really shows off your strengths, Sadie, and then also the strengths of everyone else working on the project. You can individually point out all these different elements and say, there was a really talented costume designer behind this, There was a really talented person working to make this VFX really fit in the way that it was envisioned by the director. So it's like, I've always considered it a very successful project. Sadie, do you think it was successful?
Yeah, I think with I've done like with the 4 shorts I've done and a couple of the other projects, I was noticing the other day, because Troy and I were looking at some of my stuff. We were talking about Sadie stuff. And I think every single project's been really, really different. And I think with this one, I don't follow, like, you know, a short film needs to have like a gimmick to it, a pop, a turning moment. And I have a tendency to steer away from that. And I think with How Is This the World, that might be kind of it's laid out more like, this is a step into this and now step, you know, so that didn't make any sense. Edit that out. But, just kidding. But I guess I would say, I feel like it's been a success. I feel like it's fun. It's been really funny for Grace and me, because we had a really big, a lovely premiere, and then we kind of had a little bit of dead space, and then COVID hit, and then all of a sudden we got into like some lovely festivals that are kind of all happening at once. So it's very special and kind of bittersweet that it's happening at this time, but like also I think everything happens when I don't know, I don't think everything happens for a reason. So I wasn't just about to say that. I just want to be clear. I might have been about to say that, but I didn't mean it. But I think stuff like this, it's like helpful for all of us. Like maybe we need this right now. We don't know that we need this and stuff like that. I don't know. So, but the short itself, I love with all my heart. I've never been more, I learned a ton about special effects. I learned a ton about speaking up about what you want and editing and stuff like that. And I got to work. This is the biggest thing, I think. It was the first time I've worked with an actual like crew instead of just a group of friends coming over and me like buying pizza kind of thing.
Right.
And so working with Kate and working with Amanda and working with Grace as having a DP on set, having an AD on set, having E on there, like having all these people there that were like helping me make this machine run was like such an amazing experience and the perfect springboard, I think, for moving forward with other projects. So I wouldn't have it any other way. And I love it. And I love it.
Yeah. So you enjoyed making this film, had fun making the film.
We had a blast.
I thought it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
It looked like a lot of fun. It looks like a lot of fun. You could tell.
I was stressed as hell the whole time, but I thought it was fun.
Can I add something about it being fun? I think the strength of working with Sadie as a director and working with Grace as a producer is that both of these people are so committed to empowering their crew. And Hunter, if I'm not also speaking for you, what it seemed to me as also empowering the cast to impart all of our personal feelings and ideas about and aspirations about where this could go on a day by day, choice by choice basis. And I think that there are not, I think I've been very fortunate in my career, but I know a lot of folks who have had a mixed bag of experiences working with production writers and directors about not being able to feel like you have a voice in making a project something that also feels important to you as a crew person, or as a creative collaborator on something. And I think the fact that this movie had so many themes of finding your place that might be somewhere different from where you found yourself, like intentionally seeking out like-minded people in a place where you are happier, even if it is to the detriment of some of these characters. I think that even that theme really extended to our day-to-day experience.
Andrew, did you have something to add?
Kate was covered a ton.
Okay.
Whatever I was going to say was not as profound or prolific. I was
Sorry.
And having whiplash the next day, which was great. I would do it again.
It is interesting how, you don't always think about the role of leadership in terms of a film, in terms of the production of a film. We think of directors as, they spend their time with the actor and the talent, and the crew, they stay out of the way. And what I've seen happening just over some trends or trending over the last few years, there's more collaboration happening on sets. The directors and producers are pulling in more crew members, they're pulling in other voices to improve the story, to improve the product of this film. And I think that this film that you have on your hands is an example of that type of leadership.
Well, I think the Chicago film scene, not all of it, but a lot of it, the stuff I've been involved with as an actor or as a PA or whatever I've done, I think there's a lot of collaboration that happens here, and a lot more checking in. Just from what I've heard from friends, it seems like that's something that we have to kind of be proud of. And there's a very not to be like, there's a very yes and kind of like, well, what do you think? What do you like? I don't know. Chicago has, you know, we also have, like, I think it comes from the roots of having such a strong theater community and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I think, I guess it just comes naturally to, and I feel like maybe I've just been lucky, but with everybody that worked on this short, they were already like if you turn to them and ask for an idea, they have it already. Like, they're just ready and excited. And I just got really lucky, I think. And a lot of that has to do with working as an actor and seeing some of these crew members on other sets or finding them through Grace. And like, just, I don't know, it's just a really great community. Yeah.
Troy, I have a question for you. And I know we only have a few minutes left, but at what point in your life, maybe there was an event or something that you experienced that you knew you wanted to pursue visual effects and post-production work? Can you share anything about what brought you down this road?
Yeah, let me think. I guess I've always, when I was going to school and studying film, something I was always interested. I mean, I started out being more interested in the writing side and anything in production or post-production. And I guess, yeah, I mainly work in like editing a lot and then some other like post VFX graphics. And I think like just finding out how similar editing can be to writing. And I think I always, especially before I really did much VFX, I always thought of VFX as having to be big and huge, and finding out that it could be subtle and you can like say subtle things with it, or it can like just like augment a scene instead of taking it over with an explosion or something was, I think, something that really attracts me to it.
Yeah, thank you for, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to add that Troy's a very talented writer and a very intuitive mind. So I think in a lucky combo, this kind of position comes very easy to him, and he's very good at it.
Yeah, that's interesting, being a writer and also working in post-production. I could see how that would benefit and benefit each other, those skill sets. Sadie, do you have any advice for young directors who are tackling their first short film, or young female directors who want to make their first film? You know, do you have anything that you would want to share? Or
I have advice for young and old directors making their first short film.
Okay, I like that.
Because I'm older than all of you put together. I'm just, I don't know. No, just kidding. I don't really have any advice. Do I have any advice? Everything's going to be okay. And try to pay your actors if you can, a little bit, and just pay your actors, and of course your crew, and treat every PA like they're the director. Which is something I guess I'm still learning, because I haven't had that many PAs yet, but I've been a PA and I've been an actor on a lot of things. And I don't know what, yeah, that's it. That's my advice. And you're never too old, but also be young. It's fine. And gender doesn't matter. So advice can go through all of you, but if you happen to be, I don't know. I mean, it's like I really struggle with this because people say it's like harder for women and all this stuff, and I just don't think it is, but all the time. And I think because I've whined about it myself. Sometimes I'll be frustrated, and then I'll be like, wait, is this just me? Like, just keep doing the work. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. That's my advice. I'm not saying that there's not sexism. Like, listen, y'all, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
the very
Does that make sense?
yeah. I mean, there's a you know, who's the Sheryl Sandberg, you know, famously said, just jump in, like, don't wait, just jump in, just do good work. Don't worry about all these other things if you're qualified or not, just start doing the work.
Well, then I was talking to some, there's a thing in with women in film. There is a thing that happens where, and this is something that happens a lot to women who are a little bit further on in their careers than me. You know, they've made a couple features, they've done a couple things. There's definitely, like, it's harder for women to get gigs like directing TV and directing bigger budget movies. That is a fact. That is a thing that is happening. But I feel like you can make a short film right now. Like, you literally just, I mean, so I think get those first steps out of the way and hope we can get, you know, somebody out of office and get things evened out a little bit, and then you can make your feature. It's gonna be fine.
I like that. Thank you for that perspective, and it's refreshing. I love to hear that.